It's 3, 2, 1.
3, 2. Now let it settle because Ashley had the camera going.
I know.
Yeah,
Stop it. Hey, I'm Amy.
I'm Brittany.
And this is Homemade Homicide. We like to cook and talk about murder. And that's what we're going to do today.
Yep. What are we making today?
We are making my mint brownies.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, they're super good.
I'm going to eat the whole tray.
She probably will.
I will.
And I know. And we're going to talk about William Edward Hickman. This guy is...
You said he was pretty gnarly.
Oh my God, it's bad. It's bad. So I want to get started right away because this is a good story. Okay.
Go.
So basically, I'm going to start out, I'm going to melt my butter and my chocolate together, okay? So I'm going to get started on that. Okay, so William Edward Hickman was born in 1908 in Sebastian County, Arkansas. And when he was 6 years old, basically his dad abandoned the family, which seems to be a...
rude.
You know, a lot of these serial killers, their dads abandoned them.
Daddy
Anyway,
issues.
so... When that happens, they wind up moving to Kansas City. Now, I don't have a garbage
I'll take
bowl.
your trash.
Thank you. I need a towel as well.
Too bad.
So they moved to Kansas City. Now it turns out that actually Hickman was an excellent student. Oh look, it's got silverware on it. Thank you. Yeah. He's an excellent student. Like he makes really good grades. In high school, he's like the senior vice president. Like. Does, you know, everything's great, and he's on the yearbook. Are you eating candy?
No.
I thought I put that all in here. Anyway, he's on the yearbook. He's the yearbook editor, actually, and you know, just a really good guy. And the one thing that they did say was like he liked to pull pranks, but he didn't like pranks being pulled on him. He would get really pissed off, so he could dish it out, but he couldn't take it.
What a bitch.
Yeah. So anyway, he winds up. The neighbors said too that he liked to torture and kill little dogs and cats, which is kind of odd.
So he was a bitch.
So he was a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, this is melted.
Because only assholes do that.
That's right. So he graduates from high school and he goes to college. But he only goes for like 2 weeks, and then he's, for whatever reason, he just quit. And one night he meets this guy. His name is Welby Hunt. Welby Hunt. And how many of those are you going to eat?
What?
Never.
I found more.
Okay, so my chocolate mixture is done. I'm going to pour in my sugar. It's just a little bit of sugar there. Mm-hmm. And you want to mix this really good. So... This Welby Hunt guy, he's only 16, but he's like kind of a little criminal. And so they start committing mostly petty crimes. They do forgeries and robberies, nothing huge. And so they do this for a little while, and then they decide they're going to go to LA because Hunt's grandparents live in like Alhambra or something. So they come out and they're going to live in Alhambra. So when they get out here, they decide, okay, we're going to rob this pharmacy in the Rose Hill district of LA. So during the robbery, the police show up and a shootout happens. Well, they wind up shooting a police officer and the pharmacist. The police officer lived. He got shot in the gut, but he made it. But the pharmacist died of his injuries. But they get away.
Sad.
Yeah, I know, right? So, but they get away. So... They go and they hide out. They just lay low for a little while. And then they decide, I'm going to add my eggs now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, you know what I want to do? I don't like to just crack an egg because if you get any shells, then people have issues.
Uh-huh.
So they, see, I got a shell. Okay. Always pick out a shell with the shell and it'll come right out.
Mm-hmm. Weirdly enough, it works.
It does work. So they lay low for a few weeks. Things seem to die down, and they decide, okay, we're going to go get regular jobs. So they wind up going to the First National Bank, which a great place for robbers. And they become messengers.
I want a job. You know what?
Yeah,
Let's just work at the bank. We can steal it, work there.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly. So they become messengers for this. He was like the chief clerk, and his name was Perry Parker. And so,
you want me to do something?
You know what? Whisk. This is the flour and the cocoa powder and the salt. So I like to whisk that all together. So you can do that right now. So while he's at the bank, he winds up forging $400 worth of checks. And Perry catches him. So he calls the police come, they arrest him, and it goes to trial. Well, when the judge is going to sentence William, this Perry Parker is like, don't give him probation. You have to give him jail time. Like, you know,
for his
own good. Yeah.
Okay.
So the judge does. Well, he winds up, he only does a couple of months. So I don't know what his sentence was. I think it was like a year, but he wound up only doing, a couple of months.
Okay.
So he gets out of jail and he decides, I'm going to go home, Kansas City, and stay with my mom for a while. So when he's in Kansas City, he winds up, robbing a few places here and there, just little petty crimes, trying to get money. Because, of course, God forbid you do it the right way.
Right.
And get a job. And,
no one has time for that.
exactly. So he devises this plan. He's like, okay, I'm going to kidnap somebody and get a bunch of ransom money.
Mm-hmm.
So he steals a car and he goes to Chicago. And while he's in Chicago, commits a few crimes, and he winds up getting accused of strangling some girl. So I don't know what happened there, but so he takes off from there and he goes to Pennsylvania, where he robs a gas station and shoots the gas station attendant. So now he's like on the lam or whatever from Pennsylvania as well. So then he takes off and it's like October, I think, in like 1927. He winds up, okay, this is vanilla. Like about a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons? Maybe say it a little louder.
2 teaspoons!
She's whispering over here.
Sorry.
So in case you can't hear what the fuck she's saying.
Yeah, exactly.
2 teaspoons of vanilla.
Whatever. So anyway, and he winds up in San Diego finally, and he meets this couple, and they hang out for a few days, and then they decide, okay, we're going to rob a pharmacy, which seems to be a thing with him. So
I don't see why you would rob the pharmacy.
Well,
seems like
I guess
more work. You steal the drugs for sure, but
I mean,
then
I
you
guess
gotta
they
sell them to someone.
I think most pharmacies were like drugstores back then, where it was like 7-Eleven and a drugstore. I don't know.
Okay.
So during the robbery, he demands from the pharmacist, I need chloroform. So then they split up. He winds up going to LA. So when he gets to LA, he starts to put his plan into action. Now he's decided that he's going to kidnap Perry Parker's daughter. It's just revenge.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, fuck this. So he...
but the daughter has nothing to do with it.
I know,
It's
but
not her fault.
yeah. Her name is Marion. She's 12 years old. So he stakes out the house for a couple of days, gets their schedules, whatever. And on December 15th, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
December 15th, he goes to the Mount Vernon Junior High School in LA. It's like in the Lafayette district of LA. And he's dressed really nice, and he goes into the office and he tells the office lady, okay, I need to get Perry Parker's daughter. He was in a terrible car accident and he's asking for her. So she's like, well, which one? So now he's like, oh shit. So he says, well, okay, I want the younger one. So she's like, the younger one. Well, turns out Marion's a twin. So he sees that something's wrong. He's
Sasha just walking in here.
Hello, filming. We're gonna have to get one of
There
those
is
red
no
lights.
consideration.
There isn't. We're gonna have to get one of those red lights. So he oh, now she's coming back
hello.
in.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
I didn't realize you guys were busy. I just popped by.
Just popped
Someone
by.
looking for a snack? Maybe.
Waiting for a brownie.
Squirrel hands. Squirrel ones.
So,
I want a chocolate too.
God, I thought I used all those, so you totally hid one from me.
I don't know what you're talking about. She hit a couple.
Anyway, so he sees that she's acting weird when he says he wants the younger one. And so then he decides, okay, I better
I want
change.
the 30 seconds
Yeah.
younger one.
Well, so he switches it up and says, no, I mean the smaller one. So now she's still like, okay, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Fattest, anyone.
I know, right?
God.
So
What a dick.
he can tell that she's like, you know, what's going on? Or, oh my God, we're trying to film here. So he says, look, if you don't believe me, you can call the bank and they'll corroborate the story, right? So then she's like, okay, what are you doing? Is she
Nothing.
flipping me off?
No.
Anyway, so she goes and gets Marion, and the reason I think she picked Marion was because like Marion was like the quieter of the two girls, and she, you know, minded better, and so I think when he said the smaller one, that, you know,
She was perceived.
so she
I
was the
guess.
one, yeah. And the sad thing is, like, this woman, like, quit her job and then wound up dying in an asylum over this
Oh shit.
because she's the one that handed her over. So,
Oh god. It's
So
not my
any-
fault though.
I know. So anyway, so he takes Marion, gets her in the car, and he's like, "Okay, I'm kidnapping you, but don't worry, your dad's gonna give me the money, and then you'll go home, and everything will be fine." So she's like,
Never trust that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, run.
right. So she was a little scared, but I think she was also supposedly kind of treating it like an adventure. And they drove around like the whole day, and then he took her to the movies. And they went and saw Figures Don't Lie at the movie theater.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's a movie from the
A
1920s.
movie.
So it was probably a silent movie. I don't know. Anyway, so at the Parker home, when she doesn't show up, they're like, what the fuck, you know? So they're trying to figure out, you know, what should we do? And they're getting ready to call the cops. And there's a knock at the door, and it's a telegram or a letter, and it came from Pasadena. And basically, this letter said, do positively nothing till you receive special delivery. And this was signed by Marion's hand. And so they're like, what the hell is this? Well, like a few minutes later, another letter arrives, this one from Alhambra.
A few minutes later.
Yeah, like a few minutes later.
So they're like couriers that are bringing the
Yes.
letters, not.
Yeah, which...
Okay. It's just the dude with different mustaches.
I know, right? Yeah.
Telegram. Special
Exactly.
delivery. Now I've got a soul patch.
This one's from
You'll never
Alhambra.
know.
I was just in San Francisco.
So
So,
blonde wig and shit, long hair.
yeah, so this letter says, Marion secure, use good judgment, interference with my plans, dangerous. And this one is signed by George Fox. And there's also a handwritten letter at this time, and it's from Marion.
That's right. Yeah, maybe that's
Oh,
totally.
Don't say that. Fox. There's old Bobby Fox. So there's also a letter handwritten from Marion, and she's basically like, Daddy, please do what he says.
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
of
blah,
course.
right? So this letter was signed by George Fox. So now they're not telling anybody, but it goes on like the next day, and they still haven't heard anything. Okay, I'm adding my flour and this is flour and cocoa powder and salt. So I'm going to add this a little at a time and start mixing it, okay?
There you go.
All right.
Mix and spin. Mix and spin.
So they decide, okay, we're going to call the cops. So they call the police, and the police show up. Well, just like minutes after the police show up, another letter arrives. And this one, it demands $75 $20 gold certificates, which is like $1,500. And there's a note that basically says, keep this affair private, or what do you say? Keep this affair private, or the only people seeing Marion will be the angels in heaven. And there's another letter from Marion saying, please do what he says. He's going to kill me. So during that day, they get a couple more letters, and they're all just getting, like, the letters are getting weirder and weirder. So at 7:15 that night, Perry Parker gets a phone call from William where he says, do you have the money? Perry says yes. He says, okay, meet me at 10th and Gramercy, and, you know, don't bring any cops or whatever. So he decides not to tell the police, and he takes off, right? Well, the police were down the street. So now they're following him because they're like, where the hell's he going? So they follow him. Well, when they get to this 5th and Gramercy, William's there and he sees the police. So he takes off and he never shows up. So Perry winds up waiting till midnight. He doesn't show up, so he goes home. So when he gets home, there's a letter there, and it basically says, you fucked up, and, oh, you know what? Spray that really good.
Okay.
This is parchment paper, and I cut it so that you want it to fit. It's just a lot easier to pull your brownies out and cut them when you're done.
Yeah.
So spray that parchment paper. This mixture is really, really thick when you're done.
Let's look at the chewy brownie pieces on the end that are so good.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't need that much, for God's sake.
Well, you said spray it a lot, so I sprayed it a lot.
You're killing me with that shit.
Butter your lungs.
God, no shit.
Better than asbestos.
So there's a letter waiting at the house, and it basically says, you fucked up, and I'm going to give you one more chance, and if you mess up, you might as well have a funeral for your dead daughter. And there's, again, another letter from poor Marion saying, please, Dad, you know, don't...
Stop fucking this up, Dad.
Yeah, give him the goddamn money. So he calls him later on that night and says, okay, I want you to leave the house right this minute, and I want you to go to 5th Street and Manhattan Place. So this time the police are like, okay, we're not going to follow you because last time didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
So,
he figured us out.
Yeah, he figured us out. So
not exactly dragnet.
Yeah. Okay, so this you just are going to pop into your pan.
Dude, that is thick.
It's thick, isn't it? So he goes to the meeting place, and when he gets there, he sees, here, take that. Perry sees him in the car, and he gets out, he's got the money, and when he gets up to the car, he can see Marion, and she's in the back seat of the car, and her eyes are open, but she just looks really strange. And so he's thinking, okay, she's sedated or something, you know, there's something going on. So he, like I said, this stuff is so thick when you spread it, so that's what it's doing, but if this was a metal pan...
I called dibs on the spatula. Oh, bitch.
If this was a metal pan, you could beat it on the bottom.
Damn it, I got too excited.
Oh my God, you guys.
Shouldn't you not be eating raw eggs since you're pregnant?
Yeah.
Shut up. So, dibs on the spatula. Fine, you bitch. Although she's going to try and take it all.
That's right. So anyway... he sees the car, he sees her in the back seat, and William has, he's got a bandana around his face, he's got a shotgun, and he's like, just, you know, give me the money. So he gives him the money. Okay.
You can back up if you want.
All right.
I can't. No? Okay.
So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven, and it takes about 30 to 40 minutes. So at 20 minutes, I start checking about every 5 minutes. You don't want your brownies to be completely cooked through, but you want, like, if you put a toothpick in, you want to see a few crumbs on it when you pull it out, but you don't want it like, wet.
But you want it nice and dry.
But no, you don't want it to because it's a brownie. They're not gooey if they're dry.
Okay, well.
You know what I mean? So
then don't listen to me.
So yeah, don't.
That's what she said.
Who's cooking here? So
not me. Bitch.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this in the oven.
All right.
And through the magic of YouTube,
I'm gonna move this fucking bag that's been sitting here all day.
Nice
Try
cook.
to kill me with it.
Okay.
God damn.
All right, so this one's cooked. So now we're not finished because now I'm gonna make.
Just cut it. I want to eat one.
No. Yeah. We're making chocolate frosting to put on top.
Hurry up, because I'm about to fucking just face first.
Oh my god, shut up. So anyway.
Steal yourself.
Anyway. He winds up, he's like, give me the money. So he hands him the bag with the gold certificates in it. And William takes off. So now he's driving away and Perry's like, what the fuck? He's got my kid. Well, he goes like 200 yards away and he opens up the car door and he literally throws Marion out onto the street. So he's like, oh my God. So he's running towards her and he's thinking something is wrong.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know what. When he gets up to her, she's wrapped in a blanket and all that's exposed is her head. So he takes the blanket off and her body is missing from the waist down. And her arms are cut off.
Whoa.
And there's wire that was wrapped around her head. And he sees that it's gone through her eyelids.
Holy fuck.
And it's holding her eyes open. And she's got on a bunch of makeup. Yeah.
Dude,
so
what a fucking freak show that would be.
So this guy totally freaks out, right? So, okay, so I'm working on the frosting. I'm going to cream my butter for a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to add my sugar. So the coroner said she had been dead for 12 hours. So now this huge manhunt ensues. Everybody's looking for him. There's a huge ransom. They don't know what's going on. Well, it turns out her body he had stuffed her body with like clothes and towels. And one of the towels they pulled out of her torso had a watermark on it from the Bellevue Arms apartments. So the police go to this apartment complex and they start questioning all the people that live there, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out, okay, this is my powdered sugar. They wound up actually talking to William. Yeah, but they didn't know it was him. He told them his name was Donald Evans. So they talked to him, and as soon as they leave, he's like, I gotta get out of here, right? This is my cocoa powder for the chocolate. I'm gonna mix that up a little bit. Okay. And then I have my milk. You just add a little bit of milk, a little at a time, because you don't want to get your frosting too wet. Okay. Get that going. So he takes off. Well, it's kind of interesting, like, they thought maybe at first that he was heading south. Mexico literally shut the border down.
Oh, shit.
Because they were like,
this guy's a
they're like,
psycho.
we don't want this guy in our country. So they, like, shut the border down. So in the meantime, he takes off north. Well, what happens is they start finding these $20 gold certificates. He'd been spending them. That's how they started tracing him. And it turns out, like, he winds up in Echo, Oregon, and they arrest him. So when they arrest him, he's like, no, that wasn't me. It was these guys, the Kramers. And he's like, I was with them, but they murdered her. I just babysat her. And so the police investigate. Well, the Kramer brothers, and they were associates of his, like, back in a certain time. The Kramer brothers had actually been in jail when the murder happened, when the kidnapping happened. So They ruled that out. So then they,
no reason.
yeah. So then
Going on a limb.
he's like, well, I really didn't do it. It wasn't me. And they say, look, we know the blood that was in your apartment. It's hers. You're done.
Yeah.
So he winds up confessing. He's like, okay, yeah, I did it. So he winds up telling the police what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, basically, okay, I'm going to add a little vanilla here, like about a teaspoon.
I think that'll be in the room. Okay.
So he winds up telling the police that he... Stop it. Where did she go?
She's looking for the marshmallows.
Oh, yeah, the marshmallows.
Yeah. We moved them out.
Yes.
I'm helping you be prepared.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So he winds up, you gotta let this frosting, you gotta let it cream a little bit, let it get nice and smooth. So they take him to trial, and he decides he's gonna plead not guilty by reason of insanity, which was a new law that California had just passed that you could do.
Yeah.
But one of the police officers from Oregon was like, no. When he was here in jail, he was asking how he could act crazy when it was time to go to court.
Dude, this guy's a
I know.
moron.
Asshole.
I mean, he's only 19 years old.
Oh, shit.
That's
I didn't realize
still-
that young.
Yeah,
I was in the
it
other
was
room.
right.
I
Yeah,
keep forgetting that he's only 19.
and not only that, but he was like a fucking scholar at school. Like he was a nerd from the 20s. Like I don't know what a nerd in the 20s was like, but you know.
Pocket protector.
Yeah, exactly.
Horn rim
So-
glasses.
Raccoon coat, you know,
Yeah.
the little wavy
Coming
flag.
out singing Davy Crockett.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, so he really didn't know. So anyway, they try and convict him, and they sentence him to death, and he's going to be hanged. Okay, this is a good part right here. So I like to. Oh my God, I can feel your breath on my neck. Okay, now back here. Hold on one momento. So he winds up. They send him to San Quentin, and while he's there, he finds religion, of course.
Yeah. They
And-
all do.
Yeah, and he writes letters to all all of his victims, you know, saying how sorry he is, whatever, right?
Yeah, lying motherfucker, give me that chocolate.
Right? Looks delish, doesn't it?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay.
Give me spread that.
Get in my mouth.
Give me spread that.
If you want to, you can.
I'll take both.
So spread it. Yeah, start from the middle. Spread it out really nice and even.
Oh my god.
Doesn't that look silky smooth?
Move your
So-
boobs.
Oh my God, I can't.
Get out of the way.
So,
The chocolate and I are having a moment.
he writes all of his victims, you know, these letters or whatever, you know. So on October 19th, 1928, now this kid's only 20 years old. And think about how fast this happened. Like, he killed her in 1927. You know, and in 1928, they executed him. Like,
Damn.
that's how fast, you know,
Good.
the wheels of justice worked in the 20s.
The cars weren't fast, but justice was.
Justice was,
Why do I think of Emily when we start
justice
saying
was
the
speeding.
wheels
Oh
of-
man, you're killing me.
Okay, I
Justice
was
was
talking.
speeding down the road.
Just
Fucking asshole.
down the road.
Alright, what are we doing with these marshmallows?
Okay, now spread the marshmallows along the top
Can we help?
No, I'm good.
and make it look nice.
I was just gonna throw them like that.
So that's basically, in a nutshell, William Edward Hickman. Oh my God. So I have a fun fact. We need to hurry up here.
You need to shut up.
I'm
Go
almost,
ahead.
I'm
Keep
almost
telling the
done
story.
with the story. Hurry,
Shut up.
hurry. So this is a fun fact. As he was being hanged, like, you know, they're on the gallows and there's the trap door, right?
Mhm.
Well, when the trap door opened, normally what happens is the person drops straight down and their neck breaks.
Yeah.
That's like the whole point of being hanged, right? Well, when the trapdoor opened, apparently okay, that's enough marshmallows.
Sure.
You're killing me here,
You sure?
Smalls.
You wanted marshmallows.
You better move that baby. So,
Punch in the baby.
I'll put you in the baby. Here, I'm gonna lift these out.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Take this away.
Now, bitch.
Take that away. Then you can peel the paper off. Okay. So anyway, the trapdoor opens. His shoe slips somehow on the wood. And now he's kind of sideways as he's going down. And he winds up hitting his head on the side of the like the hole where he's going to drop through, right?
Yeah.
So now he's kind of like sideways. Well, when he drops down, it doesn't break his neck. So now he's hanged. He's just hanging there, suffocating.
Yeah.
So he's jerking around, whatever,
Dumbass.
suffocating, and it takes like 2 to 3 minutes for him to actually strangle and die.
Yeah.
Which is kind of apropos since he strangled poor Marion, right?
Yeah.
So
Again, karma.
yes, karma is a bitch. Here's an end piece.
Ooh, yeah. Thank you.
You want an end
Give me
piece?
that middle. Give me that middle.
So then there was the doctor, like when he was done, so he's hanged, and the doctor goes up, puts the stethoscope on him, and he turns around and there's a crowd of 250 onlookers,
Yeah.
and he just yells to the crowd, "Deceased!" And everybody just cheers.
That is a fun fact. I like it.
Isn't that a fun fact?
Yeah. Jesus, dude. Like, glad he got his just desserts. Yeah.
Oh! And these are my mint brownies. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Aren't these to die for?
Fucking A.